Hello to those of you listening in on the stream, and welcome to today's live stream of round 7 of the 2019 championship here at Clay Pigeon Raceway in Dorset. Now today, as always with these streams, just a bit of a disclaimer, we're going to be having live commentary throughout the day from myself, Sam Hunt, the commentator through today's action. So I will be also commentating with the live club microphone along with this one. So this is a great opportunity, of course, for the drivers out there to listen back at the races they have participated in. So if everything's not entirely clear all the time on the stream, it's because it's primarily for the purpose of those who are listening in around the circuit itself. But I hope you enjoy the stream, and I'll be tuning in just a few minutes time for the first race of the day. to those of you listening in on the stream. We're currently approaching the latter stages of the first heat, and joining me now for the live commentary. Reese Hunter overtaking Sam Stansbury on that previous lap. Guy Cunnington overtaking Leon Hilliard. Their changes for 3rd and 4th, and then 5th and 6th. Current top 2, Halliday and Holbrook, comfortably clear of any of those particular battles, and there's no other changes within the top 10. Paige Holden is currently rounding out the top 10. Across the line go the top 2, Halliday and Holbrook. The current leading duo who have managed to get away right at the start. At the end of lap 1 they were comfortably clear, and now they're just making their lead count a little bit more as they tick down towards the closing stages of this race. Less than 2 minutes to go now in this first heat of the day. The Senior Max final will be the final race of the day, race number 22. Thomas Edmonds overtaking Luke Wooder on that previous lap. Luke Wooder, who recently won the E-plate, he has to concede a position to Edmonds, and well, I mean that, if nothing else, shows the competitiveness of the class. The O and the E-plate, a show of status. Both are currently in 3rd and 7th. But any one of the top few drivers, you'd stretch down, to be honest, all the way down to around 13th place, you'd say certainly possible winners. We'll see how that pans out, and the slight differences in pace begin to pan out over the course of the day. At the moment, Halliday certainly making a good case for himself. The lead of the race, led from the very start from George Holbrook, who's constantly been on his tail. Now the number 56 has conceded that position. Holbrook in the lead of the race for the first time, manages to get past Lewis Halliday. Coming out of the top corner, it is George Holbrook who has the lead of the race, but Halliday goes up the inside once again and reclaims that position. They were 0.00 seconds apart as they went across the line, literally side by side. Halliday did briefly get that position back, but then ran slightly wide of Billy's. Holbrook able to reclaim the lead once again. So as the top 2 enter the horseshoe, is Holbrook in the lead. Once again, apologies to those of you on the stream if I do occasionally stop talking. It's likely because there's another announcement going out on the speakers around the circuit. So next lap will be the final one. Halliday versus Holbrook for the first win of the day in the Senior Max, and Reese Hunter has done a great job of catching up the top 2. He's not going to be able to before the end of the race. That is too insurmountable a task, but he has managed to close the gap to just over 2.5 seconds, where it was comfortably over 3. So the top 2 squabbling has really helped his cause, but it's very likely Hunter is going to be finishing in 3rd as takes the inside, slightly defensive line there. Lewis Halliday is the last lap of the race. Halliday is going to try and hold on to this lead, and the first win. Holbrook had advantage in the previous lap. Will he be able to strike on this final one, going into the hairpin for the final time? Halliday on the inside, doesn't want to leave any opportunities open for Holbrook to find a way through around the horseshoe for the last time, and buttons. As the top few drivers approach the top end, Reese Hunter really closing in on the top 2, but it's not going to be him for the victory. It is going to be Lewis Halliday who takes the checkered flag, the first win of the day in the Senior Max, with George Holbrook in 2nd, Reese Hunter 3rd, Guy Cunnington in 4th, with 5th place Sam Stansbury, Thomas Edmonds in 6th, 7th Luke Wooder, Leon Hilliard in 8th, 9th Paige Holden, Oakley Pryor creeping into the top 10, with Elliot Hall, Kieran Gifford, Benjamin Burgess, Brandon Haig and Thomas Rotherham as the current top 15 as they conclude the first heat of the day for the Senior Max. Race 1 draws to a close then. Senior Rotax Heat 1 of 3, of course, was going to initially be 4 heats, but taken down to 3. It is Lewis Halliday who wins our first heat of the day, followed by George Holbrook, and a good tussle between the two as well. Next up will be the Junior Rotax for their first heat of 4. Each of the heats today will be 8 minutes, and the finals we can expect to be 12 minutes. And the weather looks alright at the moment, but as I mentioned, rain is forecast, and that will, as always, affect the setup of the karts, the tyre choice, and can often lead to some pretty unexpected results. So always makes for entertaining racing, if nothing else. But as always, you can follow today's racing via the live stream, or if you want to check it out later on, it'll be on the Clay Pigeon Kart Club YouTube channel, being live streamed along with commentary from myself, Sam Hunt. I'll be taking you through today's action. Next up are the Junior Rotax. Junior Max take to the track. Not all of the drivers, of course. Some will be not taking part in this particular heat because they'll be involved in heats 2, 3 and 4 for the Junior Rotax as the day goes on. But it's going to be Spencer Shinner and Kai Hunter on the front row to begin the day's racing in the Junior Max as they head down towards Billy's, and the once again 26 kart strong grid gets underway around the S's, and they all managed to get around cleanly in the first segment, which is often a pretty underrated thing to happen. Not a wide section, not really meant for any more than one kart going through that particular area, but more overtaking opportunities certainly at the hairpin and the horseshoe, which these drivers have all made their way around now into the top end to head down towards the start-finish line to complete the first lap of the race. Who is it who's currently in the lead? I can tell you it's Tin and Rourke, the number 52, who's had a very good start, gaining a couple of positions actually. Started on row 2 and managed to get himself in the lead, overtaking both of the front row sitters. Kai Hunter had a pretty poor start, actually falling to 6th place, falling 4. Ollie Tyler, who just in behind Hunter at the end of that lap, actually gained 4. And William Ellswood as well in the GP plated cart, gaining 5, 9th to 4th on the first lap. So that's a very impressive start indeed from William Ellswood to pick his way up the order. And as with the Senior Max, another huge grid, and we can expect some really close racing from a lot of these drivers who are very competitive out there on the track. Not only a large grid, but very competitive, evenly paced grid at times as well, and let's hope we can see racing that represents that. The yellow flags were briefly out there at Billy's, but doesn't amount to any serious concern, which is good. 2 laps completed now. Here to complete the third, and across the line goes Tin and Rourke, still in the lead of this race. As just set the fastest lap of the race, James Crossley, 35.00. Pretty quick lap times, but in the early stages, fastest lap's not too much concern. But he's in 8th place, which is why I tell you that, just to show you the pace of the drivers out there on the circuit. 8th place on the track, and the quickest driver out there, Tom Adams, in the E plate. All kind of lettered plates out there on the track today. Good to see a lot of very talented drivers who have turned up to Clay Pigeon Raceway. Of course, it's likely that, as I mentioned, the British Championship is next weekend, and I'm sure a lot of these drivers will be here to get the bit of practice in that they can, bit of race practice around this circuit as well. Bit of a risky manoeuvre there by one of the drivers who couldn't quite get it done and nearly spun out at the hairpin. Did really well to rescue it, actually, in that bright green helmet. Is that number 40? I think it might have been James Crossley, actually, who was absolutely storming in the early stages of the race, but couldn't quite get through that particular manoeuvre at the hairpin. And Tin and Rourke still leading the way. Kai Hunter, as I was mentioning, one of the lettered plates, the O plate for Kai Hunter in 2nd. Very much tracking down Tin and Rourke, who is more of a regular here at Clay than Kai Hunter is for sure, but in these particular setups with a lot of quick drivers, experience does count, but not for as much as you may perhaps think. All about the race day pace here. Onto the Sturmey straight then. 6 laps completed. This the 7th lap of the 8-minute heat. Kai Hunter leads the way in the O plate ahead of Tin and Rourke, who's sandwiched between the O and the GP, with William Ellswood in 3rd now, having got past Spencer Shinner, who was on pole. Gradually dropping down the order, but certainly doesn't look anything to be concerned about. Spencer Shinner, who's won a few races here in the past. Ollie Tyler currently in 5th with 6th place Tom Adams, 7th James Crossley, and Tyler Babs, Miles Barthorpe and Jordan Morris as the current top 10. Matthew Higgins gaining 2 on that previous lap, up to 12th now. Potentially start to see a little bit more pace from the number 75 out of the top bend. Kai Hunter leading the way. Spencer Shinner now finding his way up to 2nd place, so really managed to take advantage there of the intense racing on the previous lap, and Shinner manages to get just within 1 spot of where he started this heat. Although you can imagine a very tough task at hand in order to overtake the current race leader. Tin and Rourke dropping 4 positions on that previous lap. He was the real victim of that particular kerfuffle on the previous lap, but Tom Adams overtaking Ollie Tyler. That's a change for 3rd. You can see how competitive the top 10 is. Kai Hunter slightly getting away at the front, yes, but most of the drivers have someone for company. All racing well at the moment, and Tin and Rourke, having dropped a few positions, will be keen to claim a few of those places back as well, having gone from 2nd to 6th on the previous lap. Tom Adams in 3rd then. And he closed the gap to Spencer Shinner now. Almost a non-existent gap there anyway. Has he already managed to find a way past, diving up the inside now, and manages to get that move. So Tom Adams on Spencer Shinner completed, and Adams now up to 2nd place. Any way that Adams can possibly challenge the front runner, as William Ellswood is out. So I didn't actually see that particular event. That is presumably his Kart there on the outside of Buttons. Yeah, it looks like it coming together probably occurred with himself and Tin and Rourke, which is why he fell down the order so drastically. Didn't actually see that event take place, but Ellswood has been out of the race for a good few laps now, so was definitely one of the front runners, and we can expect to see him in the front again very soon, unless there is some serious damage on that kart. Kai Hunter leading the way with less than a minute left on the clock. Tom Adams in second position, Spencer Shinner third, and those three look like it's probably likely they're going to be finishing as the top three, with James Crossley in fourth. He's made that pace count to get himself into a very decent position now, a good haul of points, I should say, with Tin and Rourke in fifth, Ollie Tyler sixth, Tyler Babbs, Miles Barthorpe, Jordan Morris and Matthew Higgins still running out the top 10. Higgins is over a second adrift of Morris though, but aside from that, pretty much the top 9 all within touching distance, so to speak, in karting terminology anyway, from one other driver, whether it be ahead or behind them. 5 seconds left on the clock, and Hunter might be quick, but even he's not going to get around the rest of the track in that time. So next lap will be the final one, as exiting the top bend now, the top few drivers. Across the line goes Kai Hunter to begin the final lap of this heat. The first heat for the Junior Max. Of course, all of the heats today just contribute to an overall grid position, and well, as I mentioned, with the British Championships just around the corner, a lot of these drivers won't be too concerned about the overall end result. It'll be about finding a way around the circuit and getting involved in some racing around the circuit as well. Where are the best places to overtake, to defend your position? So Kai Hunter gets off to the best possible start, taking the checkered flag and winning after 15 laps. Race 2. And the Junior Max first heat goes to Kai Hunter, with Tom Adams second, Spencer Shinner third, and James Crossley in fourth.